Hey everyone, if you don't want to miss any of my videos, make sure you hit the like button, comment, and also hit that notification bell. And also join my email list for exclusive updates and content. What up? In this video, we're talking about my experience with the SP-404, but we're going to talk about why none of this equipment really matters. You can have a room full of stuff and it not matter, but I really want to go down to the heart of my experience with the SP-404, how it's informing my experience with my Akai MPC. And I may have said that the MPC platform is better than Machine Plus, but that does not supersede this truth that at the end of the day, the most important piece to all this gear is you. Since I've gotten the SP-404, I have been cooking with it, and I have been just really going ham on the darn thing. And it's not solely just because of the device or its design, but because I had a fresh purpose, and my fresh purpose was to perform beats live at an event. So I do these Monday nights events at Dugan's. So if you want to come by, please check that out. Where it's called PB&J or Play Board Games and Jam, right? But in this, instead of just DJing music, we're doing beats live, right? And because I want to make sure that my stuff is together and I want to give my best because production is right down my live, having an intersection of music production and live performance, because I gig a lot. Yeah, I do. I gig a lot. But I'm mainly just playing keys and doing vocals. I really have gigs that puts the drum machine or the sampler in the center of that. And before we go into that, I want to talk about this because I know that we really get into the word about which tool is better, but it's really the user. And I want to dive deep on that, on the producer and their challenges. But this is something that I found profound that Roger Lynn said. Let's see if I can play that for you real quick. It was this.
The reason that people think the MPC sound good is because of the work of these people, the artists, who created music with them. And so people, then they hear these sounds and they say, oh, that sounds good. Well, I think they're thinking of the songs that you've all created. And it reminds them of a good feeling they had because of the quality of the music. And so I think it's largely the artists who use the machines that created the good sounds and not so much anything I did.
Right. So that brings the responsibility and accountability back to myself as a music producer. And with the SP-404, because of its limitations and because of how different it is, and and the difficulty of it, my brain is a problem solving brain, and sometimes I wish I used my problem solving skills better for other things, but that's another story. However, I like working around those limitations. That's fun. Whereas versus the MPC, it's like, wow, there are no limitations. So it's like you can do whatever you want. But at the same time, I'm doing this on a table and not like, I want to just create a space where it's just the hardware and some speakers for a different experience so that I can kind of derive inspiration from that. Not saying that having a whole desktop full of gear and sounds is bad, but I think that when you need inspiration to create as a music producer, sometimes you need to switch up your environment. And if you have the blessing and capability of doing that, then take full advantage of it. So I reflected on that. I'm enjoying the process. I'm like staying up late making beats, what I haven't done in a while, because I've separated myself from, how do I put this? When you do beats and you're thinking about, okay, trying to put them out on YouTube or when you're trying to come up or trying to find some sort of career breakthrough through it, it could be uninspiring because the process hasn't happened yet. The placement hasn't happened yet. Getting paid for a track hasn't happened yet. Beat sales haven't happened yet. A lot of views on your beats haven't happened yet. And unfortunately, sometimes that becomes so loud that you can't even hear your own soul speak to music or your own creation. It's got to connect some kind of way. Okay, people ain't looking at it, and then, I got to format it this certain way for sync, or I got to format it this way so it feeds on a BeatStar page or something like that, or that it fits on YouTube, or I'm worried about copyrighting. When I do these live sets, like, I'm not even worried about copyright because there's no YouTube algorithm in real life that says, oh, no, you can't play that here. Because think about it, DJs play whatever they want at venues all around the city of Atlanta. And while maybe if somebody films it and posts it on Facebook, you see that thing said DMCA copyright, whatever. In real life, you don't have those limitations. You could just be with your music. And I think that's probably one of the most inspiring things about me. It's like when I was a kid and I had my Yamaha PSR 510 and I was just making beats on that. It was basically just general MIDI. But for me, it was a world of sounds. And all I had was that keyboard in my bedroom or in the basement, trying not to disturb my parents, which I probably did. But that's all there was. And I was just creating, and I was just basking in that and not so worried about the purpose and the career aspects of it. Of course, I would love highlights and career aspects of it. I haven't had them yet. The power of yet. I've been really working on the power of yet, because for me, sometimes I could get into a closure of, well, I guess it's just not going to happen, or why hasn't it happened, when the statement that should be in my mind is that it hasn't happened yet. And you have to really stand on that, because if you're so down on yourself, you can almost feel like that saying is a cop-out, but it's not a cop-out, because things not happening yet is an undeniable truth. You can't deny that. You can't, no matter how logical, no matter how likely, or how likely, or how clear, or how it looks, certain things haven't happened yet doesn't mean that they can't happen or they won't. But if you've been in the grind for so long, it almost turns into won't. So that goes to the next thing about creating with all these tools, SP-404, MPC, machine, whatever you got, is to have a fresh purpose for your music. So my purpose was to learn this thing, but also reap the rewards and groove of making beats on that. But the purpose was to learn the device and then have prepared beats ready for the live event, right? And I did that with the MPC and the SP-404. I wanted to be ready, right? How do I do that? There is a purpose there, because I want to have fun and I want to make sure that people can vibe out at the event that I'm a part of. Fresh purpose. And I think purposes can help. That's why when someone asks me, hey man, I was at the event and the guy was asking me a question like, what should I do? I haven't really did anything yet. I make beats and stuff like that. And I said, well, you need to make you a beat tape. And that goes back to when there was recording on beat tapes. And having beat tapes was like sort of like a great thing. Like, I'll date myself. There was a Walkman. We had tape cassettes. And when I had my Yamaha PS4, guess what? I didn't even call it a beat tape. It was just a collection. And it was just instinctual. It was just a collection of beats that I did on my Yamaha PSR 510 that I would record with a boombox with RCA cables. And put them in the tape, record them on a tape cassette, and just try to. And I didn't know how to fill up a tape either, so I always it was weird. I used to record on tapes and not fill up the whole tape up of beats. And I would start over with a new one, almost like a sketchpad. But I would have these collection of beats, and I would kind of call them albums, right? But it was a beat tape in my primordial soup era of music production, when I was learning how to use the equipment myself and I was developing and growing. But then it was a purpose. Okay, wow, I really enjoy my beats out at the school with my Walkman and headphones. So I want more of that. So now I got a purpose. The purpose is a reason for why you're doing something. So, okay, if I want to have cool tracks to listen to that I made, that I like, that in a thread makes me proud of myself, then I should take time to be inspired and make more beats, right? So always tell every producer, if you don't know what to do, make yourself a nice beat tape. For you, at least. The cool thing is that you can release it and share it with as many people as you want, especially if you have an audience. But if we wind it back, make a beat tape of 10 tracks. Use your stuff in a live performance. Use your drum machines or whatever. Laptop, if you want to use a laptop. I'm not anti-laptop. Use that in a live setting. or a beat battle. I know when I was doing beat battles, you know, that was a purpose. So I wanted to get tracks together that I thought would defeat the other opponent based off what I've seen on other beat battles, right? And I think leveraging your purpose, it could be a tool to inspire creativity, right? Leveraging a purpose to it. Why are we doing this? Right? It's cool to explore and create, but once you've been blessed with like so much blessings, and you've had so much come your way through process, and it ain't like this came overnight. You have all these tools, access to whatever you want. Now you need a purpose to harness it together so that you can create what you want to create, right? So you always got to leverage a purpose. And like I said, sometimes you can lose steam when purposes can become unclear. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I making YouTube videos? What's the purpose? Like my purpose on YouTube right now, even though, yes, I have not reached 100,000 subscribers yet, and I don't get a lot of views on these videos yet, or I did before, there has to be, and I have to reflect on this, a greater purpose to this. Why am I doing this? Well, that's something that will take time to redefine. But if I could spitball a purpose right now, it would probably be to continue to get closure on this chapter of my channel on YouTube, despite its challenges, to make 100,000 subscribers, despite the challenges, despite the algorithms, despite people not commenting, liking, subscribe, despite all of those challenges and things. I want to get this channel to 100,000 subscribers, despite all of that. It's almost like saying, YouTube, you couldn't stop me from reaching that number. A number that so many other people have reached so much faster than me. They've done it in months, days, or stuff like that, or they went viral and their life changed and they could do this full time. That hasn't happened for me yet. But there's a part of me inside that says, I'm going to do this in spite of it. I'm going to pull this off because it seems like there's just forces working against me that's trying to prevent me from doing it. Right? And then once that's done, that's done. But yeah, if I could just make a closing statement on this, the important thing to remember is to think about how can you leverage a purpose to your music creation? How can you leverage a purpose to your beats to help you be inspired to do the work and create, which is something I haven't really did a lot in a while like this. Less time on the game console, a purpose behind cooking, to get back to the rudimentary thing of beat making, which is something I kind of got away from. It got to the point to where the only time I made beats was when I live stream, and that is out of balance. But it was necessary to get back to the core of what I'm doing, where it's just me and my gear and my music, and it's a good place to be, and it's a place I haven't been in a while. So I hope that inspires you to create your music. You're watching the Leo T2K YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe, engage, please. That tells YouTube that this is a good video and more people do it. If you don't do that, no one's going to see it, and no one else is going to be able to hear your voice too as well. So please engage in the comments. Talk. Let me hear your story about what you're doing. I'm Delio. We're out.